Hello, my name is Dr. John. Sorry, Mr. God damn it. I'm senior I'm senior correspondent John Johnson from One America News. And I'm talking to Dr. Trayvon Dow. You've all seen him on that United Airlines video where his body was dragged through the floor because he refused to comply with the decent and honest police officers of Chicago. Tell me, Dr. Trayvon Dow, why did we did some research on you? I see that you raped 7 girls in 1997 and paid them all off.
How is this related to my case? How is this related?
I'm not sure, but fuck you.
Well, fuck you. This makes no sense. Who cares if I raped them?
Yo, okay, that's fine. I guess, but what about this other crime? I see you really have a rap sheet. You're a real scumbag. I see that you what is it? You ran over your grandmother, and then after you did that, you threw her body into the river. I mean, really? How are you even out of jail, Dr. Dow?
There's a thing called serving time, and I did my time. And you know what? It doesn't even matter because I did. It's not related to what happened. I shouldn't be dragged across the floor like that.
Yes, I guess. Well, let me ask you a question. Why weren't you a good person and just comply?
Who said I wasn't a good person? I'm a doctor. I help people. I do what I can.
Well, why couldn't you just comply like the rest of the white people? Huh? You think you're better than us?
So now you're pushing me in that category of where I'm an Asian whose category is to be white.
No, I'm just saying that you should.
Well, my basic rights have been violated.
I'm just saying that
maybe this is absurd.
I'm just saying maybe you have less rights than white people. That's all I'm saying. You might have less rights than white people. That's all I'm saying. But okay. This has been an incredible interview. Great television. I hope they drag your raggedy ass off a plane again. Goodbye, Dr. Dow.
Screw you, motherfucker.
All right, I'll try to put in some like static or some shit.
Yeah, I feel
between this part, so there can be like a transition,
and
then this, and then we'll start the actual show in 5 seconds. I feel like we should practice something like that a little bit more.
Yeah, that was pretty fun actually.
I do feel like the ending just kind of got derailed. Well, a little bit, but I do feel like me asking you how you got out of jail was probably the funniest part.
Yeah, you just go to jail and you just kind of, you do. What else do? You just do the time, right? I mean, like, fuck. Right. If I was an idiot, I tried to run out of jail, escape jail, but I probably wouldn't be alive at that point. I probably get shot like everyone else. Oh, everyone else nowadays is getting shot for no reason. So what's the point, right?
Yeah. It's getting, and then like, I also think the best part was when what is it? You start saying, "Oh, I see what this is really about. Why's it gotta be my race, huh?" And then I'm like, I'm just saying, maybe you don't have as much rights as that.
Which is true.
Yeah, which is sad. But anyway, all right, let's start the show. Welcome to Hood Franklin, episode 457. My name is Dr. Lucifer Jones. I'm joined by Dr. Trayvon Dow. You've seen him in many films as United Airlines 17, United Airlines 17.1. Wait, they fucked him up again. Oh man, let's just jump to the most obvious thing. That video was awful. I mean, as an angry person, I can't believe that. For me, I want to start this off because I've always been fascinated by the bystander effect. and how other people, when they see atrocities, how they react, how they see injustices, how they see other people. And besides the woman screaming, I didn't see a single person do anything.
Do you think maybe most people are in shock that it happened? Because from my experience, I feel like you're just going on a flight, and for something to escalate from 0 to 100 that quick, what do you say?
Yeah, that's true.
It's like it just happened, and that's like the worst part is like it just happened, and the fact that let it happen the way it did was just tragic.
Right, the incompetent. I'm thinking from my perspective, right? If I was sitting here watching this Asian man get dragged across the floor as Mike Brown 2.0, right? I am definitely not saying anything. Not because I hate Asian people, but because I don't want to be part two.
No, yeah, exactly. So no one wants to really be that number, or I guess, you don't want to
be a stat.
Exactly. No one wants to be a stat. But at the same time, it's like now the question is like, whose fault is it really, or is anyone's fault? For me, it's like people are saying like, the cops are just doing their job, and like, yeah, you're doing your job, but like to be that handsy to the point where someone gets hurt like that, that's part of it. For me, mostly it's the airline's incompetence, but at the same time, let's not, shed the light that it was all their fault. At the end of the day, it was an act of racism.
How do I say this? I definitely do not think that they did all they could to solve that situation.
No,
I think United. I think United and Delta, low key, Matt. Besides United, Delta, and American Airlines, you can barely use Southwest. You can barely use JetBlue or Spirit. You have to use those three. And just like Comcast and Verizon and AT&T, they fuck you over because they're massive monopolies. And they know that no matter what you do, you're going to have to deal with them.
So, yeah, and in my opinion, I mean, like, because you shot me a text earlier today saying the guy was pretty much defenseless. He didn't really, like, try to cause any issues. He just kind of got grabbed and then I guess got swung to the point where he just kind of got, messed up around the head and the mouth, which is kind of unbelievable. But I mean, like, it was like 2 or 3 people on him.
Guess what, fam? Look at this. He was sitting in the window seat. The people, yeah, right. So that's how we got, jacked up. Because they were grabbing him. The people who were sitting were not going to leave either, because I think maybe they were trying to do it in some solidarity or something. But the fact is, I think about that situation. And if I was the police, right? First of all, why did they come in looking like they had riot gear? That was looking like commandos.
I think that's just normal nowadays, sadly. And like for me, because I travel a lot, I'm so desensitized to it that it's now become like
it's normal. Like that.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But at the same time, you have to think about ever since we put the travel ban, everyone's worried about immigration and everything. A lot of shit goes on at the airports, especially when you have 2 bombings in like Paris at the airport. I think it was Paris.
It makes sense.
I could be wrong. Could be Turkey too. But regardless, a lot of things can go wrong at the airport. So like, to me, it's normal. I think the way they handled the situation was pretty poor because now it just looks bad. I mean, from what I saw, it was like a black dude and a white guy ganging up on him. And the next thing you know, his head hits the armrest. He's bleeding everywhere. And like, yeah, I'm not sure who's wrong or right in that situation. I think I'm more mad at the fact that it happened to be someone of a minority in this case who happened to get, hurt over the 3 other people who probably didn't even get touched.
Yeah. Because of basic incompetence. And then how United, how they acted like the way the police does after they murder somebody.
Oh, of course. They're going to protect their ass, and they have the money to do it.
That was so crazy how they were like, yo, he had cocaine on him. We didn't do anything. He slammed his head in the jail cell over and over. That's how he died. I promise, bro.
I mean, I bet you can believe that, like, they probably paid people to dig up past history to to make this go away. I'm not too surprised. I will say though, it's pretty convenient that you just happen to pick the cut minority at the in that seat. What happened to the other? Like, I want to know how come the 3 other people didn't get manhandled the way he did?
I genuinely think it's also because he's an immigrant, and I don't know about you, but I don't see anyone from my family leaving unless they got double or triple their seat cost. They need to be able to justify leaving that seat. And, okay, so the legal limit, right, which is so dumb, but of course there's a legal limit because, these airport companies got great lobbyists. The legal limit they can give you is $1,350 in cash. And then they can give you another amount in vouchers. I'm not sure if that's like $5,000 or $8,000. They offered only $800 after United intentionally overbooked it. And then they didn't have enough room for their employees. Why don't they just sit crisscross applesauce on the fucking with the pilots? Like, I swear to it's just the incompetence, the basic that they did so many things wrong on their own line that any competent organization would do. And then they essentially taking out the fact that they didn't prepare on this old Asian man. And
they go off and slander him, and then
and
then ignore the fact that this was, a race issue, in my opinion.
Like everyone else in the media.
Yes. It's like, I don't know. It's just like, let's just shove it under a rug. Let's shove it under the fact that, like, hey, we, fucked up. We decided to do, not go by our policies. And then let's just ignore the fact that, the guy who happened to get touched was an Asian man who got hurt. And let's just pretend nothing happened and move on with our lives and just say he's crazy. That's pretty wild.
And the worst part is the videos made him look even worse. No matter what. It just, like...
Another thing that... the way they dragged that body out that plane.
Right.
Dude, that's so inhumane. Like, really?
The disrespect.
Oh my God.
The disrespect. The fact that he's just like a sack of flesh to you. He's a job. I need to do this job. You can get it my way or you can get in the way. It's just like...
And like, and also comes back to like how cops go about things. And like, I'm not trying to like beat down on cops and say they're all bad people. One of my friends is a cop here in Chicago. Yeah. He's a great guy. He's really actually, trying to do his job, do the right thing, and help out his community. Then there's other people who don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
There's those type of people are the type of people we don't need. And that's why I believe we need to make the curriculum or coursework at the police academy difficult, or where it's more difficult for people to become a cop. And then you just raise the wages of the cops who get into that position. This way you make the jobs to be a cop more appealing. I don't know. To me, it's common sense.
I feel like when I was growing up, man, I would always watch movies from the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, right? I'd always watch I Love Lucy, Seinfeld, like The Graduate, that nonsense.
Yeah.
Very rarely did the police officers ever use their guns. Even in the show, actual cops,
Mm-hmm.
you know what they do the majority of the time when I was younger? They just talk to these people all the time. Like the thing about like it was just crazy. Now, anytime you see a police officer, first thing you hear is shots fired. And I don't know where that because they had that training. What happened in that interim? Because I remember when police officers weren't this violent.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. I mean, like,
Or maybe I was just young and we didn't have cell phones.
I also think
Yeah.
with the media, you see more than
Mhm.
what you hear back then.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think some of it actually just is normal or is kind of like a norm to a lot of these guys.
Mm.
And now that phones come out,
Yeah.
we see it and now we're more appalled. And which is good because obviously we shouldn't be treating humans like this. We're civilized people, for
We're
Christ's
not
sakes.
cattle.
Yeah, exactly. Or we're not fucking monkeys throwing shit at each other. So it's just kind of like shows like how can we make this better, or at least like bring back the repertoire of being a cop genuine, or at least respected. Because I don't know, for me, I've dealt with cops before and like I'm not a fan. I've been bullied around. It seems like they're trying to ding you on everything for something when you're just being completely innocent.
It looks like
I know you're doing.
Oh, so?
Sorry, go ahead. I was saying, I mean, I get you're doing your job, but like, I don't know, from a human being to another human being, it's like, what, did I piss you off or something? Like, well, it seems like they're trying to get me, or trying to, when I have my interactions, I don't know
It's
about other
like
people.
they put up this wall between themselves and the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And they don't have any empathy for anyone who's not their family or police officers.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking about what you're saying, and it's just the way that they see people. They see themselves as separate in a way that's really, I think, fatal.
And that's really sad because, to be a police officer, like,
It's tough. I get that.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But you need to be part of the community, meaning you need to, be able to say hi to people in the street without people running away from you. You know what I'm saying? Like
but most police, and this is the sad fact, the majority of police officers don't live in the neighborhood they police.
That's true.
Like, look at New York City, right? Most of the police officers are the white ones, of course, live in Long Island and watch Bill O'Reilly when they come home.
Or they live outside of the the island, pretty much, like around the Hudson,
or like
growing up around
hard Queens. Yeah, like, so they're not city folk, yet they're the ones who go to the city and see all this crime and see all this nonsense, and then they go to these nice parts, right? So they're spectators.
Yeah, they don't participate.
About it. Yeah,
they're not participating in the community. I think that's why I respect my friend more, because he's a cop in his old neighborhood where he grew up, and is highly Hispanic, Latino,
of course.
And a lot of shit goes down. He tells me he hears gunshots pretty much every night.
Yeah.
Usually just gangs going around, just open fire for no reason. Yeah. But his goal is to get guns off the street. I don't know about what other cops' prerogative is, but to me, it comes off as genuine, him actually caring about his community, where he wants to give back, which is something I feel like the police force needs more nowadays than just manpower in general.
I as a young socialist, I've always felt like one of the ways that we can use government, right, is we can start really embracing, and this is something I feel like most Americans have forgotten, start coercing our children to like really do public service when they're younger. Like imagine, right?
Uh,
If we started apprenticing kids
mm-hmm.
for the police,
Mm-hmm.
but when they were 16.
Ah.
So for 2 years, right?
Mhm.
They're riding along with the police. They do this, that, and the third, right? And it gives them credits at the police academy. They know their community. Like they're just
Yeah,
they
because they're interested from an early age, and it's something they
exactly.
want to pursue and make actually a real career. And
It's a
I think,
guaranteed job.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely one thing. I mean, it goes for like maybe even being like a fireman or thing. You gotta make these jobs somewhat more a
Appealing.
little bit more appealing, especially to younger kids nowadays. With like you're competing against like technology and
Exactly.
STEMs, and it's hard to want a position back. Giving
Well,
back to the community, I guess, in the sense.
I
So
also feel like we could do that for like, let's just be honest, for the niggas. Like, imagine if we could just put like hood rats in that shit. Like, if we could put like just all these bad kids who fuck up their life, right?
Mhm.
And we just force them to work instead. No, like straight instead of throwing them in jail because doesn't seem like it's doing anything.
No, it isn't.
Like,
it makes them bitter.
Yeah, that's what like. I'm not saying that let's not put them on a chain gang, have them break rocks because that's just slavery. That's no fun.
Yes.
I think we should like what you were saying.
Mhm.
Hey, what do you want to do? You give them 8 choices: fireman, policeman, accountant, astronaut. You get my point.
Mhm.
But like just stuff that would better the city. Like imagine if there was like, I feel like that would make it so much better because
Yeah.
people wouldn't be scared of the police.
Mhm.
It's hard to be scared of the police when you know the police.
Yes, that's
When
true.
you know, like, hey, it's David. He used to live down the street from me. He's good people. Like,
Mhm.
but I don't know, man. I just feel like policing right now is so insular. And then we got, that fucking orange baboon and his goons fucking up the government. So that's going to be a hard, rough time to get clear of.
Yeah, a lot of things on our social level aren't working very well, I would say.
But
It's kind of tragic.
I do want to focus and really finish off this topic with the fact that there's been zero mass media coverage of the fact that this guy's Asian. I am startled by the fact that no one is talking about this. Usually, anytime anything like this happens, there's 1,001 hot takes about this,
Mhm.
that, and the third. And I think this really, I don't know how to say this without sounding problematic, so I don't care. I think this really shows how weak the support is
Mhm.
for Asian Americans when it comes to acts of racism from the larger community.
Oh
'Cause,
yeah.
like the thing you'll see when black people get fucked up, right?
Uh-huh.
Or when Latinos, or when trans people, or when women in general get assaulted, right? Is you'll see multiple communities coming together to condemn them, right?
Uh-huh.
Like how you saw everyone condemn the United guy, right?
Uh-huh.
But everyone condemned Eric Garner. Even Bill O'Reilly thought Eric Garner was too much. Like
Mhm.
it had nothing. Like people were like, okay, clearly they targeted him, killing someone for cigarettes. Probably 6 people, 1 black guy. There might be race. It would make sense.
Mhm.
You're getting nothing from this.
Well,
All I hear is, I wouldn't have wanted this to happen to me. Congrats. But there's a reason why only the Asian person was dragged and treated like an animal.
mhm. Yeah, and for me, I definitely feel like
Yeah.
coming from the Asian American community, especially the older generation, they're very I would say they're not very vocal, first of all.
Would you say passive or conservative?
Yes, they're very passive. I mean, in kinder terms. I mean, in my opinion, they come off as passive and also wanting to be accepted by society at times, which is why a lot of them, get whitewashed or lose a sense of their Asian. And what I'm coming to say is that we have a lot of them don't have a sense of pride.
Yeah,
in my opinion, unless you're for first generation immigrant.
so
And even then, first generation immigrants tend to want to assimilate to American culture, in this case white culture, to be accepted, to make money, success, all that bullshit.
So you're saying assimilation is a goal for many first generation Asian immigrants?
Yes.
You're saying it's something that they want to, and when you mean assimilation, is there a, how do I say this, an intentional way, an intentional reason to erase their Asianness, I guess? Do they not teach their kids how to speak their mother tongue? Do they stop making
that's definitely one thing. We definitely lose a sense of, we definitely lose our native language.
Shit.
I mean, even in mainland China though,
Yeah,
white is always seen to be better, or Western culture is seen to be better. And especially in China, you definitely notice is that they'll always cater to the Westerner over the Chinese man.
Wait, so in restaurants and stuff?
Yes. A good example here. My friend went to a club. Keep in mind, he's half Chinese, half white.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, he's not half white. He's just Chinese. My bad. But he went to the club with one of his friends, a couple of his friends from college. I think it was two white guys and a black dude. Can't remember. They go to the club. All three of them, besides him, get in. Is a Russian bouncer, and she was trying to make him pay. And then he goes off and blatantly asks, "Is it because I'm Chinese?" She tried to dodge the question. At the end, eventually, after nagging her, it was a yes. It's because you're Chinese that we're making you pay. They're Westerners; they can get in. Kind of the same shit here.
Is that racism, or do you think they can just extract more money from the dumb Americans?
I think it's because they're trying to promote, or I'm not sure what it is exactly. In my opinion, first of all, I think it is racist.
Incredibly.
It is incredibly racist.
That's literally self-hatred.
Exactly. So that's my problem, is now Chinese people don't have their own sense of self-worth, where they hate their own culture, where they're seen to oh, I need to be westernized in order to be accepted. And that's the worst thing you can do to be accepted, or gain acceptance. And it's pretty, in my opinion, America is very common, where a lot of white Asian people
become whitewashed,
male or female, but predominantly female in my case, in my opinion, where they believe dating white men is a better choice because they're American. Because they're Americanized, or they're seen to be I guess in a sense better, for some reason in their head is the American dream to get taken away by a white person. And yeah, it is a problematic statement I'm making, but this is how I see it.
Would you talk about Asian American women or Asian fobs?
I'm talking about both.
Oh, word, damn.
And in my opinion, it's is there something about us that we I feel emasculated for hearing that? First of all, it's
I will say this right now.
It's fucked up.
The group that is most likely to marry outside of their race are Asians.
I agree.
I also think that's because of two reasons. And because I am a student of history, I see things in really large cycles through numbers. And Asians are less than 5% of the population. The majority of Asians live in California, New York, Virginia, with pockets in Chicago, Texas, Atlanta, and the Carolinas. I think a lot of Asian people, and specifically Asian women, go out with white men because what you said, the self-hatred, the glorification of white is right. The white man is seen as essentially being at the top of society. In many ways, white men are seen as more valuable than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And in American society, specifically if you're a woman, your goal and if you see look at our films, listen to our music. You want to marry the rich white person who has a ton of
Yes,
money.
it's true.
That's look at any movie that we've ever seen, and then it's not even. And then even some movies they're British and they're rich, and then some movies they're poor, but then they turn rich and later, and it's just always the same thing. The only movies that aren't different is Billy Crystal because he's Jewish. Frankly, I'm sorry, those are the only ones where it's. And then guess what? People love those movies because they're different. But
Mhm.
I see what you're saying, and it's just I do feel like Asian women at the same time,
Mhm.
they have you got to respect the agency.
Mhm.
They can do whatever the fuck they want, and
No, and I agree,
if
and I'm
white
not
man
trying
is
to.
their thing, let them do that. I really like it. It's not my place to say anything.
No,
I will say this also,
yes.
Matt.
Mhm.
We know many Asian men.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say that they would inspire a lot of the Asian women that I've met
Hmm.
to want to be with them.
Okay, and I'm totally,
Good call,
it's
Paul.
I agree with you there, and I also agree with you, I'm not trying to say that Asian women shouldn't be dating white men. Like, that's your prerogative. You can do what the fuck you want. I don't
Mhm.
care. But
Oh no,
from
no! You already problematic. You own it. Own it. Just keep outrunning it.
but I'm
I
trying to
do
say
not believe that women should have rights.
no.
I will pass universal health care, but only for males in this country.
No, but I'm saying is if
Yeah.
you do, is like don't do it out of self-hatred or just because you believe white is better. It's like
That's even worse.
exactly. It's like you should if because in my opinion, you can date whoever the fuck you want as long as they make you happy or as long as it for me it's like an experience. You want to know, you want to get to know their culture, how you get along with them and everything. Don't just do it just because you see one culture winning over another. The fuck? Like
Yeah.
it's like that
It's so
that is just
transactional.
exactly. It's just so it's like that's so much self-hatred and it's like you're not even thinking about like what you like, that's not even love at that point in my opinion. That's just like, oh, how can I win at life? That you're just in love
Yeah,
with
that's what
winning.
that sounds like. That you're addicted to winning.
Mhm.
Oh,
So like,
yeah.
go, so be it if Asian women date like predominantly love the date white men, like that's cool. But don't do it because you're trying to abandon your own culture and go to theirs and claim yourself and start painting yourself white and some shit
We should
because that's
also
bullshit in my opinion. My
it's
problem
true.
my main problem is that you lose a sense of self-identity. And I don't think that's right for someone who comes from a different culture where it's so rich in history for you to just abandon it for something that's like only existed for like a century or 2 centuries, whatever the fuck it is. How long the white people been here? I don't really care at this
All
point.
so you can go on Facebook and say your babies are hella cute. Yeah. It's I think about this situation and the self-hatred, right?
Mhm.
And like what you said, right?
Mhm.
My older generation in Kenya, right?
Mhm.
I'm just gonna be straight up. They think white people are vicious criminals who stole their land, killed their sons, and raped their women. There's no wanting to be white. There is no white is right. They hate white people.
Mhm.
They just hate white people.
Mhm. I see.
That's as you might have noticed. I don't hate white people. I'm not a fan. I tolerate them like they tolerate black people, right?
Well, the way I look at it is
I'll
like,
treat them the way they treat me. But wait. But then like the younger generation, right?
Mhm.
They don't have that hatred.
No, you have
They
people
don't
like Connor.
care.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I'm like yeah, and like it's like they marry white people, and then the older generation is like, I don't care if you don't marry a Kenyan, I don't care if you don't marry a Nigerian, just please don't marry a white person. and like they think it's like it's like they took our shit. Fuck them. They killed my auntie. Like, you know, stuff like that. And it's crazy to see how even though that self-hatred is clearly there, you know, like people in Kenya, like they don't want to speak their mother tongue because they don't think it's not Western, you know, like you said.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not trying to go off and say that like all white people are bad, because like my godmother's white.
No, some of my best friends are white.
Exactly, same too. I mean, I got white Stan, you know, other than black Stan right here. I got Connor. I got a few Jewish friends too. But like what I'm trying, you know, they come from a point of understanding and understanding that, like, you know, we come from a unique culture or background, and they respect that. Especially my godmother, she taught both my parents English. She watched them, you know, pretty much get married since they were like 17, 18 when they came to America. You know, that's pretty, you know, that's pretty inspiring, and is also very, you know, welcoming and very warm-hearted. And you know, there's people like that, but it's for someone to go out and actually respect their culture like that, it's you see that very rare in a few people. And I think that's why there's that you know, that divide between all the colored races and the white people.
Yeah, that's I and this is what I don't like, because like I'm from Kenya, so I'm, you know, the politics that we're seeing right now, right?
Yes,
I'm used to it. I'm used to seeing politicians slap women on national television and then get elected for governor.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, I'm not joking. Like I've seen people just say, you know, like Trump says things that are completely factually not true.
Yes.
You'll get press conferences where you have 75 members of parliament lie. 3 days later, the truth come out. All right, whatever. Who gives a fuck? And then guess what? Do you know why they get voted in? Because they're from this tribe or that tribe. It's irrelevant what they say. It's irrelevant what they do. You got my vote because you look like me, buddy. And Trump, straight up, bro, more white people voted for him than Latinos voted for the Democrats.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like Trump brought out a crowd of people that you would have seen voted in the last election.
Oh my, like and it's scary because he's using these third world tactics. He's straight up saying, "Yo, white is right. Let's roll."
Okay, funny you say that. Does that mean that the people who fell for him, or like those rednecks out there, or third world then?
No, man, it's just that tribalism is not unique to minorities. White people have convinced themselves successfully that basic emotions don't affect them. They've convinced themselves that they vote because they sit there and make a pros and cons list about who their best can. That's garbage. They vote with their base reptilian brains like everyone else. And guess what? Sometimes they don't like darkies and spics, so they gotta get them out, and they voted for Trump. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. Like, there's even like research, Matt, that shows that if you have negative perceptions of blacks, Latinos, and our next growing minority Asians, you're more likely to vote for Trump. There's so much, just like, this isn't just me talking out my ass. There's so much research that shows that if you have a negative perception towards African Americans, President Obama, or if you're more inclined to believe that we should ban Muslims, you might support Donald Trump. And then so when I saw that tribalism, right, it's everyone but me. That to me is when it was the scariest part, because besides Asian people who he took shots at, but they weren't his focus. slandered everybody. The Jews, the women, the Latinos, the blacks, the disabled. I don't know, wizards.
That was another thing that kind of
the
confused.
Pope.
Another thing that confused me was how women actually voted for Trump. The guy is just like, as a woman to vote for Trump, you must really hate yourself to be a female. Honestly, I will say that.
I don't think these women hate themselves. I think they're Republicans, and Republican women vote Republican.
So they're dumb.
No, they're not dumb. I think that a lot of people in the Republican Party, right, have just finally started, because back in the day, right, they'd be like states' rights instead of just saying we hate niggers. They just be like tax cuts instead of saying fuck these Latinos. They'd be like, hey, no busing. I'm like, oh, you don't want your kids to compete with those Asian kids. They should be able to go to a good school with their own kind. And now they stopped with those. Now they just say racist shit to your face. And I think the Republicans are just becoming much more open about voting as a party of white people. And I frankly, I kind of find it relieving. Just be honest. Stop fronting and saying you're not racist. Just be racist. At least I know how to avoid you.
Which is why all white people don't like the word being called a racist, which is hilarious.
I hate the mind fuckery. Because I'm sorry, this is why I like white people from the South a little bit more. You know where they come from. They're either racist or they're not, and you move on. But here up north and in Cali, you're just like, I don't know.
Sensitivities.
You might be voting for Trump. I don't know.
see, it's like I thought we had to talk about this. I know with you and some other people, it's like they just don't want to own up to it, and like you know, because like coming from, especially raised from parents who come from an Asian background, or strong Asian background, I should say. My dad's no saint. He was pretty racist too. He told me to be careful with black people. He told me to be careful with certain other races too. And it is racist. We call them out, but he's learned to accept that over time and be more open to other things.
Like my mom, she stopped hating gay people. Like
exactly. See, so it's. The point I'm trying to get at though is like when you say that to a white guy, like, hey, that's racist, they get all defensive.
It's always about them.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I wasn't trying to be some racist, but I'm like, yeah, but your comment is racist. Or like, oh yeah, let's ignore the fact you called me a chink and just say it was just a joke. Like, okay, that's normal. I don't know. I that used to bother me a lot, and then I think that's when I started trying to assimilate to white culture and started like acting like it wasn't some shit. But now as I got older, I'm starting to realize like, wow, that was pretty fucked up of me to let that happen, because it felt like my brain got brainwashed for like a good 2 years of my life. But anyway,
no. Like I understand, Matt. That's sometimes I feel like in the situation that you're in, you were surrounded by white people, and I've never been in that situation. I can't really empathize with that. All I know is they are going to push as much as they can, as far as they can, all of the time.
Yeah, but as I go,
Matt,
I mean,
I can think about they always. Why can't we say the N-word? Like, just the fact that you would ask that question makes me want to slap you in the mouth. Why can't I say this? Well, you fucking idiot.
I was gonna say, what kind of fucking question is that?
And it is the entitlement, this belief that the world is their oyster and that everyone else is a guest, and that it's nonsense. It's just nonsense, dog. And the fact that for me, I like to do two things. I like to say that's racist. I don't like saying you're racist, because that becomes about someone's morality and their intentions, and you can't prove any of those things.
Mhm.
Two, what I also like saying is this: I have no interest in dealing with someone who has no interest in actually acknowledging that race exists. If you want to just be one of those people who doesn't like, I'm cool. I'll say hi to you and shit, but clearly you're not capable of having deeper conversations because I'm black. This is something that affects me every single day. If I can't talk to you about this in a way that you understand, where is this gonna go?
Oh yeah, exactly. There's no
Yeah.
point, right? And I agree
Exactly.
with you there. But then it's like those are the type of people you want to understand to, to get a point, because it's like if they don't, then it's just gonna keep happening. It's bullshit. It's just a never ending cycle. It's like we're always gonna be going up this uphill battle,
And
unless we all start having like mixed children. Honestly,
I don't think that's gonna solve it either. I think they're all just gonna say they're white. I think no, I'm not like that's the problem, Matt. Latinos can be white. Asians and black people cannot. Asian people straight up are yellow. They're or brown or red. They're like literally there's 3 different colors. Like Asian people cannot just transmorph into white people.
bro. Apparently, you haven't seen those Koreans yet, have you? Have you? Like where they're all like pale
First of
white.
all, that is surgery. Their kids come out looking like the rest of the Koreans. So do all that work. Your semen can get plastic surgery. That's all I can say.
All right.
It's just ridiculous.
I agree.
Yeah, the self-hatred, man.
Mhm.
From Asia to Africa to the United States. White people have really inculcated that hatred of yourself and praise of them. It's disgusting.
I agree.
But remember, we love white people. White people are awesome. Send your donations to We Love White People.
I love the white people I'm friends with. That's all I gotta say. Fuck everyone else.
Some of my best friends are white.
Anyway,
this episode is definitely not going to the public. I would love you to know.
I agree.
The whole fuck white people like 7 times.
I know, right?
Like, I don't want to die from these Nazis, dog. These Nazis are legit Nazis. No, I don't. Like, I see like a giant flaming Pepe on my grass. No, hell no. Oh my god.
Anyway, I would like to talk about a little bit of music. What have you listened to this week?
So ever since To Pimp a Butterfly came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most albums, I take like a rushed attempt.
Yeah.
I'll listen to it at least 2 or 3 times in the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did that for More Life. I did that for the T-Lop. But with this album, I've just been listening to this album whenever like the inspiration comes, right? It's like the 3rd time I listened to this album.
Mm-hmm.
And I also listen to Untitled and Unmastered.
Mm-hmm.
I see jigaboos. I see styrofoams. But what is it? I really think that this is one of the best albums I've ever heard.
T-Lop? Sorry, To Pimp a Butterfly?
I still think that the ending is hilarious.
It's outrageous.
It's one of the funniest things I've ever. Funny. That's the only way I describe it. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Good, whatever, Kendrick. Anyway, everything else before that, and the little poem at the beginning there's I knew you was conflicted, misusing your influence, and the production on this album, what he's saying, the story, the way he connects the story of Dave from Good Kid in Mad City to his own thing, like how you and I connect, and how Mama and Complexion that you ain't got. I feel like when I listen to this album, it's like I'm reading a book, and I'm getting more and more each time, and I've never felt like when you listen to this album, I don't know. It feels like it's endless.
I need to revisit it. I will admit that was probably one of the most difficult albums I've listened to in my life, but grew to well. I actually did. I liked it.
I think the first time it kind of it's dense.
Oh, it's just so much context to it. It's just like you kind of get lost. So like for me, first time through it was like, okay,
it's hella black too. Like it's just and it's very upfront about it.
Yeah, pre lemonade. Anyway, it's so like for me, I definitely focused on the beats first before I started even trying to get into the lyrical content, because the lyrical content was just like a puzzle to me. It was like, damn, there's so many subliminals going on. I have no idea what's going on. And it just like, it makes you appreciate it, because it's like, you can be conscious in a complex way, or you can be like J. Cole and just spell it out. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3.
I think, frankly, I don't think I actually have a problem with J. Cole. I think J. Cole I think he makes fine music. He makes just fine music. I have a problem more with his fans who present him as some sort of lyrical genius, the likes of which humanity has never seen.
And that's the problem. But like for me, J. Cole just got boring, honestly. And then your fans just ride or die so hard where it's like, oh, this is amazing. No features, platinum. Okay.
It says something about you when my favorite part of J. Cole's discography are his struggle hooks. I'll be home for the holidays. Oh man, like it's just I'd rather listen to J. Cole sing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would too. Like, Home for the Holidays is a great song. Like we're never gonna get that again.
No, but like because it's just J. Cole just needs to make songs about kicking it in a cookout, hanging out with your family,
smoking weed
with a girl, like he just needs to make cookout music, because he keeps trying to do all of this stuff and trying to reach these artistic levels, and I'm like, what? Cut your hair. Hey, just cut your hair and go back to making, because I've never said this before, but most artists make some sort of progress. They're at least that we've seen in the past 6 years, like Big Sean, like Rihanna, like Young. Okay, that's 50-50 Young Thug. Well, let's just be honest. And I would say Travis Scott went backwards, but the point is, a lot of artists,
okay. Well, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, you're entitled to your wrong opinion. We'll talk about it later at some point.
It ain't wrong when that guy's making great music. Anyway, go on.
He's making popular music. But the point is, God damn it, with all this, that was so much hatred. But they're making progress.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think J. Cole has made any progress.
You know what he's found?
Lights.
You know what he's found? He's found a comfortable lane, and he's staying in that lane.
I genuinely don't think he has. I think he's genuinely tried to actually make different music on each of his albums, and each of it, every time it's been mediocre to me.
Well,
it's been like, oh, that's cool.
For your eyes only, it sounded like an extension to Forest Hills.
Oh, for real? Oh,
yeah, bro. It's like buying an expansion
production wise or lyric wise?
Both, to me.
Oh, no, for me, the J. Cole albums, at least January, Forest Hills Drive, right? That felt like, to me, it's like, okay, this is what it was for me. It was my, like, it's like his teenage years. Mm-hmm. You know, this is what it was like growing up. These are the dreams I had. This is who I wanted to be, right? Mm-hmm. It was his college album. I get it. It was his album. He made it for the college kids, and it worked out well. For Your Eyes Only was much more personal. It told us a terrible story, but it told a single focused story. It was an awful, awful story, but it told that story, right? And I just didn't like it. I didn't think the album deserved it. I think the fact that he had no features did nothing to illuminate or change that album. I think the best two songs out of that album were where he was talking about his girl. It had nothing to do with the actual story. What were you saying?
For me, that both albums were him doing more or less the same style. Like when Forest Hill Tree came out, I was like, okay, so we're going down this consciousness lane, but then also bringing up your pubescent like memories. Like, thanks for letting me know like the first time you nutted, I guess. For Your Eyes Only, I had no idea what the fuck was going on. I just knew he was talking about conscious shit, and it didn't sound that much different from Forest Hills.
It was more. He was just telling the story, and it was really unfolk. It was just, like I said, it's a terrible story. It's about this kid trying to get out of the hood. It's just like,
let's not do this. I don't want to talk about this album.
It was.
We get the point. It was terrible.
Done.
It was terrible.
Like, and then you see the reaction online, and it's like, this guy is out here making like he's Homer, you know, right? Mm-hmm. He's writing Iliad and Odyssey at the same time. Like,
that's arrogant.
I genuinely, I've never understood the fan reaction to J. Cole.
It's underwhelming for me. His music's so underwhelming.
I think it's like the sense of righteousness, and like he, to me, is rap game Bill Cosby. And, and I'm going to say this right now. It has nothing to do with this family values raps that he's always talking about. It has to do with this vibe that he's like,
I'm your dad.
No, it's like, I'm above this.
Yeah. That's the one thing I don't
like.
That's
the vibe I get from
That's definitely one thing
You're not. You're not.
That's the one thing I don't like about his music nowadays, and also his fans, is like, oh, you listen to Lil Uzi? Ooh, you listen to Lil... It's like, yeah, but, it's just...
Well, Lil Uzi is trash. Let's just be honest.
I like Lil Uzi, but anyway.
I like his music, but I don't say he's a good artist.
I still respect his music. Like, I just like listening to it. But the thing is, point being, it doesn't make me a dumb person, or it doesn't make me any less intelligent than you are with your fucking crazy ass looking hair and you going around trying to stay woke. Like, congratulations.
It's like people who are putting on the front and are trying to say, because I listen to J. Cole, it's somehow some sort of symbol of my status as a enlightened individual.
I listen to J. Cole.
You're just a simple person.
Congratulations. I listen to Young Thug, and I'm in an office job, but I'm still doing pretty well, and I'm pretty sure you are too. Yeah, it doesn't make me any less stupid than you.
It has nothing to do. It's just I'm for me, like, I really do. I'm fascinated by fans. How people like that shit to me. Like you know me, I hate Lakers fans. Garbage people from a garbage city. But shout out to all our fans. Los Angeles.
That was so weird.
but yeah, man, like I've always just been, I love how figuring out how these people work, because like Young Thug doesn't have fans like J. Cole has fans. Like Big Sean doesn't have fans like that. I would say the only people who are like J. Cole has some serious fans, dog. Like he has gone platinum on every single release. Most musicians can't do that. Like Katy Perry struggles to go platinum, bro.
Yeah, it's all about the rap game now too. They'll think about it. But anyway,
but still, though, those last 3 albums, they were not good albums. They just like, I just don't get how J. Cole can make so much mediocre shit and sell so many records. It's fascinating.
All I gotta say is fascinating. They must be streaming that shit day and night, because for me, I don't know how you do that. You must be like you must be riding his dick that hard, or you must love the album that much, because I don't think I could play that album anymore. I think I played that album maybe once or twice, and I got really bored.
I was on Hits Daily Double, right? It's this website for the music industry.
Yeah.
That just sucks the balls of record executives so hard. Do you know what they get?
What?
Leaks. Exclusives. They're the one who broke the Future tapes. Yeah, so it's like, okay, this is hilarious. This is the whitest
Send me the link to this website later, actually.
for sure. Yeah, no, like no, they just it's just like complete corporate horror website, but they always have scoops. And they were just like this. I can't believe they were talking about how J. Cole, right? How it's Forest Hills Drive
Mhm.
was in the top 5 most streamed albums of 2016. Yet I'm pretty sure that album came out December of 2015 or
Yeah,
2014.
it came out in December. It came out right before New Year.
I think it was 2014, dog.
No, dude, it was 2015.
For real? Okay.
I'm pretty damn
point
sure.
is,
Wait, no, you're right. It was 2014. I'm sorry. Go back. Yeah, it was 2014. My bad.
think about how long GOMD was on the radio.
You know, the beat's good, but this whole song in general is just.
It's just this garbage, whatever. Like it was just some like what I think his attempt at making a banger, and because he says, "Oh, this is a banger" on the song, and because J. Cole has to tell you what type of music he's making, because J. Cole is the greatest rapper alive. But the point is, like, and it's, and then they're talking about how it was so bizarre, because besides the Life of Pablo, no other album that was streamed that much. And I'm like, what the fuck is this man doing to intoxicate these children with this music? I just don't get it.
I know it's. I'm done talking about him, but like in general, in my opinion, his music's not impressive. It's just mediocre. Yeah, it's
plus.
It's so mediocre nowadays. He doesn't impress me. But that's cool. You revisited Kendrick, because I haven't done that in a while. I definitely feel like I should. I have been listening to Blonde again because the album's actually. It's immaculate. That's all I gotta say. It's so beautiful. Like, it definitely took me a while to get into after the first listen. Then the second listen, I was like, okay, I'm starting to get it. And then
this is the album you listen to 17 times.
It really is, but it's just so much better than Channel Orange. Like, worlds better, that I just appreciate it so much more.
I've only listened to it once.
Channel Orange?
No,
Blonde.
Okay. I don't know. I just feel like I'm not ready.
Okay, well, let me tell you this. The story, I don't really get the story, but but there is a storyline. It's like, I think it's mostly a story about him dealing with his struggles, like love life, mental issues, and then his drug usage,
of course,
and then pressure to become a superstar or something, like, but we're at the end of the day, he still finds himself alone. So that's what I got from it. Damn. And also like heartbreak, obviously. So it's pretty convoluted. I think it's very open to however you want to interpret this. That's how I interpreted it. And I think the reason why I like it so much is because I kind of relate to that at the moment. So for me, it's kind of personal.
Okay. I feel like this is the most basic comparison, but listening to the album really reminds me of OK Computer or Kid A.
Okay.
Like, okay, I listened to that album the first time, right? And I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, that's what everyone thought.
Why is this like, why? And then I listened to the fact, like, okay, so he's just abandoning musically, he's abandoning everything that he's done. Yeah, R&B is essentially a backdrop. It's mostly these like guitar squelches. They're not even riffs.
If I had to compare it to like another album where it's trying to like go against everything dude like used to conventionally, I could say is like his 808 is like, oh,
it feels like that.
Yeah, it's like, let's just like take everything I've done to get on the radio and just like
throw it out the window.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, like for me now, I respect him more of an artist.
Exactly.
Again, and also
I also don't, now have a reason to hate Channel Orange a little bit more, and also justify the fact that he can actually make good music compared to like all that bullshit. But anyway,
I don't think Channel Orange was a bad album. I think it's an overrated album.
it is an overrated album.
I don't think it's the best R&B album that came out that year, and I'll fight anyone who says things differently. But
my problem was with Channel Orange was this: they had good individual songs, but it didn't really tell me anything.
It told me the story about Frank Ocean, who liked to smoke a lot of weed in L.A. and judge other people's lives. But wait, I'm gay. Goodbye.
Yeah,
and
it's so basic. And then
I don't think it's basic. I just think that it's
mediocre.
No, I don't think it's just. He makes it seem like it's some giant statement on life, when it really wasn't. It was just a collection of good songs. There was no
message. That's the way. That's the only way I can describe it. It felt like a playlist to me.
Exactly.
And then coming from coming from Nostalgia Ultra.
Oh, so good.
It was like
it was so much better.
Yeah, how the fuck did you go from that to this?
No, it was confusing because Nostalgia Ultra had more of a vibe, a consistent vibe.
It was a consistent vibe, and then
the Channel Orange,
the transitions, and then the short little interludes with you switching out the games with a different game that you want to play. It's like GoldenEye, Street Fighter. It was like, wow, that's pretty fucking sick.
I really think it's because I blame Def Jam. I blame Def Jam because when Frank was releasing his album, they were really hot on Bieber. They were really, really hot on Bieber, and I can really see them pressuring him to make songs that sound like they could be on the radio, and I can see him doing everything not to release MapQuest. I see Frank being one of the most difficult people in the world to work for.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, it took him 4 years to make this album,
and then he literally ditched Def Jam at the last possible second. They sued him, so that's not a good look.
Well, I still like this album, but anyway.
Yeah, but I want to listen to Blonde again, but I don't know, man. I don't.
It's hard.
It's intimidating.
Really? That's how I feel about. That's how I feel about
intimidating listen, right? It's just like.
That's how I feel about To Pimp a Butterfly. It's such a daunting task.
I'm gonna have to sit here and really, I can't. Blonde. I couldn't do other things.
No, at work for me is easy. I just sit there and listen to it and let it soak in.
Yeah, but I wanna listen to what he's saying, and I can't do that. So it's just I hear guitars in the background and hear him going right now, and then it's like, oh, the album's done. Then it's like okay, I didn't get anything from that.
Yeah. At that point, I'd rather turn on Talking Book, but whatever.
God, you are my sunshine. Anyway, man.
Oh, that's such a good song. Anyway, yeah, I know.
That album to me is I'm going to make all of these happy, joyous feelings, and then I'm going to make you weep for 3 albums, just because I can. Because I am the greatest artist of the 70s, and no one else can ever touch me.
Plus, you can't even say that, you're struggling compared to him. The dude's blind, for God's sake, and can make joyous music. What the fuck?
And he plays all of the instruments, electronic and analog. So he is blind and he's playing electronic instruments and producing this music by himself. He is blind. He is literally using the power of sound to construct music. He is a genius.
He is a genius. There's no question.
I listen to Stevie Wonder and I understand why old people say R&B isn't as good as it used to be. I'll give them that.
I had that talk with someone on the train. I had to talk with someone about that on the train on my way home. That was interesting.
I like 90s R&B. I think 2000s R&B besides kind of fell off because it just became this Trey Songz nonsense. But the R&B of the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s is the best, I think, music ever made. I genuinely do believe that.
I can concur with that. I mean, like,
I really do.
I can't say that I've been bumping R&B of the 2000s as much as R&B I would find back around the 70s, around that period. It's just like, oh, there's a clear difference.
Oh, yo, have you ever heard of Donny Hathaway?
No, I'm not.
Okay, that's your that should be your next pickup, my friend.
All right, I'll check them out.
Hey, man. I
Yes.
think it's I'd say we wrap up this episode of Hood Franklin.
I think so too.
I just want to say, like, just to wrap this up, that the way that doctor was treated was really an abomination.
Ludicrous.
And I feel like really furthers at least my belief that we have to destroy the corporations of this country so we can achieve our own freedom. But more on that, not a revolution. I just want to break them up. That's it. I have no problem. I don't want to take people's jobs. I just want them to get paid more for their jobs, like you said. What do you want to end with, Dangles?
I just like to say that as an Asian American man, to see this happen in front of me was very disturbing. Also, the fact that we're not addressing the fact that this dude was Asian and also slandering him
exactly
is despicable and disgusting.
Remember, he's no angel. So he's no angel. Oh, also, before we go, my pick for I Spy White Privilege for this week was you know him as Spicy. Press Secretary Sean Spicer.
Oh, Spicer. Oh, dude, that was so fucking hilarious what he said.
Oh my goodness. The most stressed out man in the world did what made a Hitler comparison. But he is an imbecile who did this live on national television as the spokesman for the most powerful country in the world. Because that's what the press secretary is. You're not spokesman for the president. You're spokesman for the country. This motherfucker said that Hitler didn't use chemical weapons. He didn't use sarin gas to murder people. Hitler actually developed that same gas and killed 6 million people with it.
This is where we kind of hit the button and go.
And of course, he apologized and was smiling about it. An hour and a half later, thanks to accommodating Jew Wolf Blitzer.
Do you know what's the worst part before we go? I read an article about trying to like make him look very human where he was apologizing. I was like, no, don't sympathize with this motherfucker. This guy just made a fucking terrible comment and is trying to get away with it. And using the media clearly to get away with it. That's fucked up.
And he essentially humanized himself.
Yeah, exactly. He
used this opportunity to basically gain some sort of credibility back with the people he's been lying to every single day.
We're sorry.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
I'm human just like you. I make mistakes. I don't hate the Jews. Well, not all Jews. Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, once again, this is how you see how white privilege works, because you always get the benefit of the doubt. Even after it's been recorded that you told an Indian woman, you're lucky to be in this country. He told her that to her face. I mean, my nigga. I mean, this guy, he told that black woman, please stop shaking your head when you speak at me. Like, okay, this motherfucker. You work for the Trump administration. You lost the benefit of the doubt to most people. But of course, our garbage media treats you like some sort of victim because you wanted to get paid and be press secretary and have the most visible PR job in the world. So once you retire, you can become a multimillionaire and go work for fucking Uber, scumbag. Anyway, what's your I Spy White Privilege?
This week, dude at my workplace shaved his head, looked like a skinhead.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I know. It's kind
That's
of
fucked up.
it is. It's not really white privilege, but it was just kind of disturbing. And I know he is a Trump supporter.
You know he's a Trump supporter.
I mean, if we had to go back to I Spy White Privilege, is when he asked me if McDonald's existed in China, and I responded, "If no, I actually am just going to be eating dog just to fit the stereotype and to make a point."
That's so dumb. He is so dumb.
But this is backward, bumblefuck America. So like anything can happen, right?
Man, I really think he might have just been stupid. It's just such a stupid question that it might be genuine.
It is.
I can't.
That's how crazy it is, right?
I can't even believe that. It could. I just assumed everyone knew that. Everyone.
Or my favorite is they drop a joke about Chinese people saying "Ching Chong Ling Long," along the lines of that, and then ask me if that was racist, and I'm like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What do you think?"
Yo, they say that shit to you?
Yes, dude.
That's so wild racist, dog. That's like I would definitely tell HR about that.
At this point, I just take it as it is, and I just go about my day because I don't really want to stir that pot and then go through all that. Because to me, it's not really worth my time. But yeah, I do ask them like, well, if you had to ask yourself that, what do you think? Or I just go off like, no, not really. But, the fact that you had to make sounds like that, what do you think? It comes down like, how about you think about it besides me telling you, I'm not going to tell a 30-year-old how to think because in my opinion, once you're that age, you should be able to think for yourself.
And if you just tell HR, they're going to think you're a complainer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's what being a minority in this country is like. Jesus.
It's also not a big enough company for me to really care, or my job isn't like that super important to me where I care enough to say anything because let's face it, I'm trying to do something else. So trying to make moves this year.
You can call them white niggers.
Ooh, contradictions.
Like they literally just like stab you in the chest. But anyway, man, I will talk to you later. Your story, low-key, was really heartbreaking. Fuck white people, man. I mean, that's just this really isn't gonna go out to the public. I just keep saying fuck white people.
But I do like the I Spy White Privilege. That's a funny hashtag. I don't know if we can use that again, but that was pretty hilarious.
I like it. I really like it.
You think we could do that?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's trademarked I Spy White Privilege.
It's not the trademark part. It's just the questionability. Do you think it'd be okay to like say over podcasts like that?
Oh, of course. Okay. Because white privilege is, remember, Matt,
prevalent.
We want people to hate us.
Ooh, that's true. We want haters.
We want to hate us because that means some people are gonna. There's gonna be 3 people who will love you, 3 people who hate you, or 4 people who don't care.
Yeah, I'm trying to be on that Charlemagne level where people like mostly hate me but still fuck with me.
Because guess what? They're still listening to you. Your haters are your customers.
That's true.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
I like it. All right, I'm gonna go. I gotta get a shower.
Deuce.
All right, peace, Dan.
Later, man.